Good morning! Good Mira morn! That water is old. Okay, it looks like Calypso's awake too. Good morning! Good morning, my love. You don't want to sleep a little longer? I don't think so. Good morning, good morning! Traffic was awful, you lie! Looks like the Popo finally caught Mira. For now. As soon as I get out of here, I'm gonna change my hair color and they'll never suspect who I am. Mwah, good morning. Mwah, 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 mwah. He's like, goodbye, mother. I must go take a nap in my goon drawer. I see one on the left side of the stream. Exactly. We're gonna talk about my crime. No. We're gonna talk about some female crimes from history. I do have a thing for female. Like I don't have a thing for female killers. That sounds weird. But I think I find them very interesting. I don't know why. I guess it's just interesting when women are killers. To be fair, their motives are quite boring, but... You look gorgeous behind bars. Thank you! I think. Come here. He's gone. Goodbye, Calypso. How many of them were explained by I was just too passionate? Honestly, most of them. And some of them actually used that argument. They were like, I wasn't a killer. I didn't kill them because I'm crazy. I killed them because I'm passionate. I killed them because I'm in love. But I cherry-picked a few from history that stories that I like. I don't know how to use words when we're doing dark histories. But they're just stories that I found most interesting. Let's go with that. You're so powerful that the bars fade away in front of you. Well, yes, how else are you gonna see me? Come on, get it together. Is Mira's crime being too cute? How dare you? Like the IRL yandere. Well... kind of. I mean, you'll see. What did they do to you, Mira? Honey, I've been here all night, and the ringmasters... I called the ringmasters, and they said we'll be there soon, and they didn't show up for 12 whole hours. They left me in here. I was just trying to burn down someone's farm. I was just trying to do some arson for fun, and then I got arrested. It's not fair. Why me? She says, looking like the cutest yandere ever. I'm not a yandere. No, Mira. It's not fair. It's not fair. I should have come 24 hours later. You would have left me in here for 24 whole hours? You have to bail me out. You know those failed businesses? Yeah, we need more money. We should be like Bonnie and Clyde. Bonnie and Clyde. I should have included them. They're a duo. Bonnie and Clyde got away with a lot before they finally got caught. We could be Bonnie and Clyde. We need bail money. What? I was joking, Diago. I was joking. Thank you, Diago. But I was joking. The clown girl is back again for another stream. Yes, I am. Guess we need more hands working for us then. More children. We haven't even had any children yet. Wasn't even a good farm. I think they just had a corn maze. Oh, I know. Listen, setting a corn maze on fire. Come on. You're not even tempted to a little? That thing would go up like crazy. Actually, funnily enough, we are talking about someone who set fire to a farm. I guess women have an MO, huh? Most of these are from like the 1800s and early 1900s. Like the 20s to 50s ish. But in the 1800s, it was a free for all. What? A fire segue? A fire segue! It would be snowing. Oh, popcorn. Imagine if you... That would be... Okay, so it's a very specific type of corn that pops. Not all corn pops. It's popping corn that pops. Who knew? I didn't. Until recently. I was like, how do they make corn pop? Then they had to dry it or do something. Anyway, imagine lighting a popping cornfield on fire. Oh, it would smell so good. Also, I think if you set a normal corn maze on fire, it would smell good too. Anyway, fire! If that cornfield had spider webs in it, it's an instant fire. Oh, especially if it was dry corn. Oh, Bonnie and Clyde were the original Romeo and Juliet. Well, I think Romeo and Juliet were the original Romeo and Juliet. They preceded them just by a little bit. But I get you. It makes sense. The modern day Romeo and Juliet. Free popcorn. Hell yeah. Another side business. We set farms on fire, steal the popcorn, and run. Gotta do that for pre-movie night prepping. You're right. Has this ever happened IRL? I don't know. I think though it still has to be dried corn, so I'm guessing they don't leave the corn on the... I'm assuming they don't leave the corn out there for long enough for that to actually happen. But if it did, I should do that. Just grow a couple of popping corn stalks for a couple of years. Just a few, like 5, and then set them on fire. And then we sell the corn in the circus. Yeah, and it'll be like smoky. We'll say smoky corn. Okay, we have a lot of criminals to go through today. Well, not really. I mean, honestly, each of these could have their own dark history episode, so we're just touching on what they did. There's so much more backstory to a lot of these. Cut out the middleman and set the movie theater on fire. Yeah, but then where do you watch the movie? It's not the same. Standard Zippo lighter? No, I like old school matches. I like an old match. Then I must think about the, oh my god, it's corn. That's a cute video. I like that one. Instead of dusting the fields, you butter the fields. Oh, that sounds delicious. Actually, all the popping corn is the original popcorn. It's harder to shell. What? All the popping corn is the original popcorn? Wow. I'm too stupid. I don't understand this. It is a variety of corn. I know. Yes. Yes. What do you mean? Overall content in the old breed compared to the softer corn we eat today. Or we go flint and steel. No, I feel like I'd suck at that and I'd be sitting there in the middle of the cornfield just like... like those people on Naked and Afraid. Just... and then their partner going... just looking down at the fire and looking back at them like you said you knew how to start a fire. And they're like... That's my favorite part. They're like, yeah, I'm so good at starting fires and shit. And then they put them in the forest and then they're just like, everything's wet. And they're just like... I finally caught you live. I saw you on YouTube. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You picked a good stream. No, no, it's fine. I know what you meant, but I could not read that. That sounds awkward, especially if they were naked. They are. They're naked and afraid. Have you never seen Naked and Afraid? Oh, let me tell you about my favorite TV show. They take people who believe they're survivalists. They put them in pairs. Usually a man and a woman. On occasion, they'll have like group naked and afraid things, but it's mostly just 2 people. And then they put them in the middle of nowhere. Okay, so generally, I do think it's a bit unfair. 1, you don't win anything. You just need to survive out there for 21 days for funsies. 2, they usually pick an environment you're not familiar in. So you could be like, I go to the woods every week. I've lived in the woods for 6 months alone with just a fish hook and a fire starter. But then they'll be like, oh my god, that's great. You really know your stuff. And then they'll put you in a rainforest in the Amazon. So that is what they do. So then you're kind of fucked. You don't even know what to do. You're set up for failure. But I love it. Oh my god, I love it. I'm guessing it's exactly what it says on the tin, huh? Yeah, it's a great show. You can watch clips on YouTube. It's fantastic. Brilliant. They are very respectful. They don't look down when they first meet. They just kind of stare into each other's eyes really intensely. And they have their bag to like cover up their person. But they are just out here butt-ass naked, getting bitten by stuff. I always think about the lady that got bitten by bugs and her whole butt was covered in hives and she had to go home. Like the bugs really feasted on her and then she left her partner there. And it was like, yeah. Yeah, like me when I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm tired. She's just standing like and the medic was like, you should go home. And she's like, okay. But then the guy was all alone and started going crazy. He made like a little friend to talk to. It's a great show. I'm guessing you sign a waiver. Oh, for sure. For sure. I mean, at least they probably cover your medical care if you get sick. I'm sure they do, because you don't get paid or do anything. Why do you sound excited? Because I love that show. Please, just watch some clips. It's the greatest show ever. Wilson, yeah, they start going crazy when they're alone. Because I guess the camera people aren't allowed to talk to them. So, after a certain while, they kind of look delusional. They're like, and then he was like, I'm hearing voices. I was like, oh, are you okay? I've arrived. Hello. And thus she got worms. Yeah, people have been bitten by some weird stuff. There's the guy that got bit on the butt and then it got like super infected and the medical person had to like drain it. And then he put like a little bandage over it. It was like, try not to get it dirty. And then and then the medic leaves and you just look around at them sleeping on the floor and you're like, yeah, it's gonna get infected. If a bug bites your butt, we'd be happy to medicate you. I think you're gonna say you're gonna suck out the poison, like in the Three Amigos. Anyone really kill it and prove they're a wilderness badass? Yes. The thing is, usually when they come back for their second round, it goes well. It goes really well. But it's always interesting because they're there for 21 days, right? Generally, most of them struggle to get food. But then miraculously, like on the second to last day, because basically they put you somewhere and they give you a map. A small, like, just like a kid's map. And they're like, you need to... My head is so itchy. And they're like, you need to get to this point to be extracted in 21 days. So generally, most people just walk a little bit, find a water source, set up camp for 20 days, and then on the 21st day, walk to extraction point. But always 2 days. Yeah, they always, like 2 days before or the day before the big walk, they always get food. And I'm like, do the producers plan this? And these people don't know? Like, they find a crocodile, put it in a little... tie it up on the little hook, because I'm like, dude, you haven't caught anything in 20 days. Come on. And then, so maybe the survivor doesn't know that the producers have done this. But it's just like, have you had a shower the entire time you've been sitting there in the drunk tank? No. That sounds like it's fixed. Yeah, I'm always a bit suspicious about that. I don't know. Because it's always like, oh, my trap finally caught something. And you're like, sir, your trap hasn't worked for 20 days. And then they come out with like a wombat. Well, you can't eat a wombat. But then they come out with like a goanna. And they're like, look what the trap caught. And their partner's like, oh my god, food, protein. And I'm like, wow, just before the big walk. How convenient. Oh, my favorite ones are though the people that show up and they're lazy. There's one where they're on an island and the guy did nothing the whole time. This guy was obsessed with hydration. He refused to move because he was like, I'm gonna get dehydrated. And she spent all her time collecting water and boiling it because all he would do is like, I need to drink my 3 liters a day. Even more now that we're in the sun. And she's like, can you help do anything? He's like, I don't want to lose my hydration. It was insane. I am so surprised that she did not hit him over the head with a coconut and just, she would have done so much better alone than with him. And then at the end, he had the nerve to be like, we did it. And I was like, she did it. I'm starting to hear voices and they sound like Mira. What are you talking about? We're talking about Naked and Afraid. I just wouldn't give him water if I was her. But then he would cry like a freaking baby. All he did was lie there and sleep. And she was out there hunting for food. She was looking, she found the coconuts that he got obsessed with. All he did was sit there and drink coconut water. She found, she found a beehive. And she showed it to him and he's like, we should get that. Honey's gonna be crazy. And then when they got the beehive and she got stung a lot because he did fuck all. She got stung a lot and she got the beehive. And when they opened it, wasn't that great honey. It's kind of rotten honey. So they went back to eating coconuts. And he was like, this is why I don't listen to you. Anyway. Hilarious. Hilarious. I'm sorry, we did it? Who is this we? That sounds like a him problem. Honestly, at that point, I think I would have just opened my own camp and been like, peace. I don't need you. I'd be like, you know what? I'm gonna go look for food. I'll be back. And then I just don't come back for the 21 days. I have become Coco. That if you watch The Mighty Boosh, they have the episode where they damn it, what is it called? They have that episode where they are on like a cruise ship and then the cruise ship crashes and they're on an island and they start making like coconut girlfriends. Has anyone seen that? The Legend of Milky Joe. I like The Mighty Boosh. Honey can be rotten. Yeah, a part of me thinks it was probably like a wasp's nest. And they were just stupid. But the honey wasn't good to eat. It was pretty dry. It was basically just wax, I think. Yeah, they went through all that for no reason. Mira goes out for smokes just like the father. What? What? What happened? Oh. I remember that show. It's a great show. I mean, it's done, but it was a good show while it lasted. Ugh, nasty. Yeah. And then he was like, this is why I didn't want to use my energy. And then he was like, now I need to rehydrate. And then he went back and drank all the freaking water. This guy was obsessed with hydration. I went on the Reddit afterwards. And everyone was like, why is this man obsessed with hydrating? Because you can go back, because people are like big fans of the show. So you can go back on the Reddit and see what everyone was saying. And sometimes I watch it and I'm like, am I being... I mean, it's easy for me to be judgmental when I'm sitting at home. I'm sitting at home with my water in my tap. And my ice cubes. And I'm like, am I overreacting? Is this guy a douchebag? And then I go on Reddit and they're like, oh my god, this guy's a douchebag. And I'm like, oh, thank god it wasn't just me. Do you have some? I do. I do. I have my water and I have my gamer subs. Although I don't think this water is good. I def would have dunked him in the ocean and left him there. He was so annoying. Oh my goodness! Dalton! Not Dalton, thank you so much! Thank you, thank you, thank you! Thank you for the gifted subs. Thank you, thank you. When are you gonna take us into the wild to do this too? To be naked and afraid whenever you like. I know, I couldn't survive, I know that. If I had to, maybe, but I don't think I would survive that long. What gamer subs did you get? I got raw meat! Nice gifts. Nice. Thank you so much. If you got a sub from Not Dalton, make sure you say thank you. So thank you so much, Dalton. I genuinely didn't see your handcuffs till now. Is it a compliment that this prison suits you well? It's not my first rodeo, but thank you. Alright, shall we take a look at some of these beautiful women? I read it on a Snapple bottle. Clowns shouldn't be in the wilderness for too long. You don't know. This is making me want to survive. Since we spoke about arson, let's start with our arsenal. Let's start with our arsenal. Lizzie Halliday. I know this one I know a lot about because I like it for some reason. I've just realized I've made a terrible mistake in how I've set everything up. Everyone, close your eyes, please. Close your eyes. Don't look at the women. Don't look at them. Don't look at them. It's a surprise. Don't look at them. Also, one of them is like super hot. Just sharing. Okay. Firstly, we shall talk about Lizzie Halliday. They did Lizzie dirty in this photo. But you know, I guess it was 1893. What are you gonna do? Mira Mayheme, up your arsenal. Excuse me. If you dig shows like Naked and Afraid, it'd be fun to see you try a survival game. Ooh. Oh, I used to play 7 Days to Die so much. So much. I've basically finished the game. And games get boring once I finish them. I had an amazing compound. I had my helicopter. She doesn't look very pretty there. No, she's not the hot one. She's not the hot one. The hot one is from the 50s and looks like a movie star. Oprah Din coded art. So a lot of this is in the 1800s, so they probably didn't have... They definitely didn't have cameras in the... Very rarely did trials have cameras. So it was mostly sketches. I feel like that name is familiar. You're probably thinking about Lizzie Borden. But this is Lizzie Halliday. So Lizzie had a history of arson and theft. And then murder. So Lizzie looks a little scruffy. She does. I don't know. So we will start our story in 1879. So Halliday married a man in New York called Charles Hopkins. His real name was Ketspel. I don't know why he lied about his name. A history of arson. How many times? Oh, wait. There were 2 famous Lizzies. Well, I mean, there's also Lizzie McGuire, but she didn't murder anyone as far as I'm aware. They had 1 son. He ended up in an insane asylum. And then in 1881, her husband died. So she went and married a pensioner called Artemus Brewer, but then he died less than a year later. And then she married a 3rd time to someone called Hiram Parkinson. And then he was like, this bitch is crazy. And he left her within the year. All of these lost less than a year. And then she married George Smith, who was a war veteran, who was best friends with her 3rd husband, her 2nd husband that died, the pensioner, him. He then he died. I lied. So she tried to kill him with arsenic, and then I guess he was like, he got suspicious and was like, did you try to kill me? And then she ran away. And then she married... Are we on the husband number 5? Then she married another guy, but then she disappeared 2 weeks later. Where'd she go? Then she moved to Philadelphia, and she worked at a bar there, and then with some friends she knew from Ireland, and she changed her name to Maggie Hopkins. Ooh. She married anyone with a Hopkins in their last name? So so she changed her name to the first man she married. She's going through a lot of men, yeah. I do think she killed the others. If that's not clear, I feel like she killed the others. But then she lived there for a while, and she then she was accused of setting fire to the saloon for the insurance money, and she was sentenced to 2 years in prison. Yeah. And then in 1888, She started being known as Lizzie Brown, and she became a housekeeper for Paul Halliday. Do you see where we're going? A twice widowed 70-year-old farmer. She married him, but then he said that she was crazy AF. So within the 2 years they were married, the house burnt down, the barn burnt down. And they were like, guys, we think it's Lizzie. I feel like there's a pattern here. Oh, yeah, for sure. And they were like, we think there's a pattern here. And then she stole a bunch of horses from a neighbor and then got another neighbor to drive her to New York where she sold them. And then she was acquitted of the crime on grounds of insanity. What do you mean acquitted because you were insane? Look her up! But this is where our story truly happens. It took that long? No, that's not the end of the story. That's not the end of the story. There's more. They said her behavior was unpredictable and volatile, and her household was always plagued by arguments and disappearances. Neighbors were always reporting fires. And sometimes Paul would disappear for long periods of time and no one knew what happened to him. And whenever someone asked her where he was, she'd be like, oh, he's doing work in another city. And they're like, he's a farmer. Why would he be working in another city? She's like, mind your own business. But then the neighbors reported her and they were like, hey, we haven't seen Paul in a hot minute. So the police came and guess what they found? The two bodies of the girls from Philadelphia! Yeah, I don't know either. I guess they came to visit her when she moved here. And maybe she was worried they were going to spill the beans or something to her husband. But she killed both of them and buried them in the barn. And they both had gunshot wounds. She had him locked up in the basement. Hey, she had something. She got sent to an asylum, I guess. Well, we'll see. We'll see. There was she did get sent to the asylum for a period of time. I don't have the notes on that. I just remember it as an afterthought. She was sent to an asylum for a period of time because her husband's like, I can't deal with this. And then they sent her to another asylum, and then they said she was cured, and they sent her back to her husband, and then that's when she got really bad and started murdering everyone. So days later, after searching, they found Paul's body, mutilated, decomposing under the floorboards of the main house. Yes. She did blame strangers, and then she was like, it was probably the neighbor, and then she's like, I don't know how that body got there, and then she said it was the spirits. What duck would say she was better? So I think this was after the arson stuff, because it was after she married the farmer. Honestly, the records are a bit meh about the institutionalization, but it was after she married the farmer, Paul, and it was before the murders, obviously. So I'm guessing it was just the theft and the continued acts of arson for insurance money. Was Lizzie sleeping with a doctor that said she was cured? We've spoken about asylums, so you know. Who knows? Oh boy, 1800 psychiatric care. Now that's something you can put your faith in. Yeah, we've spoken about that before. It's a topic. Yes. Because of the murders and because she was a woman, there was so much media coverage, and newspapers loved giving women like names, but they called her the worst woman on earth, which I really don't think so. There was other women that were way worse, but I guess in this town she was the worst woman on earth. Weren't psychiatric places wanting more patients for funding? Yes. She gamed the system or something to get out? I don't know. Once again, we don't really have records of her institutionalization. I wish we did. I'd really love to know how she got out. But she did get handed around to a couple of asylums before they were like, she's cured. That isn't a very creative nickname. Listen, they were just starting this, okay? They were like, a woman killer? She must be the worst woman on earth. Write that down. Write that down. That's my 1800s newspaper voice. She was the worst woman they had heard of recently at the time. The worst woman of Chicago in the last month. Yes. Yes. So while she was awaiting trial, she actually tried to escape and assaulted staff and, wait for it, set her bedding on fire. Who gave this bitch matches? That's what I want to know. And she was originally sentenced to death by electric chair, and becoming the first woman in New York designated for execution. Oh, how exciting! We love women. Women first, right? Yeah, the first woman. Woo! The first woman to head up a Fortune 500 company. Yay! The first woman to die by electric chair. Yay! But yet, they changed their mind. So she didn't. She wasn't, in fact, the first woman to die by electric chair. So after psychiatric evaluation, she was put into life confinement in the Matawan State Hospital for the Criminally Insane. In 1906, she murdered. This is in the institution. She murdered a nurse by stabbing her with scissors. I mean, once you're in, like, institutionalized for life, what's gonna happen, you know? Well, kill whoever you want. And then she died in 1918 in the asylum and never breathed a breath of fresh air again. A trailblazer. Truly, truly. Sad. Yeah, it's sad she didn't get executed by electric chair. But she was like, gotta get out here and start murdering more. That's some Hannibal Lecter shit right there. She didn't eat them, so you know. Unfortunate. But that is the story of Lizzie Halliday, the worst woman on earth. Kind of. And on that specific day, she was the worst woman on earth. Okay, so next I would like, my favorite one is this one. This is the Alice Mitchell case. Oh, I love this story so much. This could be its own dark history thing because there's just so much in here, but we'll get through as much as we can. Anywhere with the home for the criminally insane and insane is not a place where you want to be. Oh, of course not. But still. What a looker. Hey, you don't know. They probably did her dirty in this sketch. So, Alice Mitchell, over here, to the left, the murderess, and Frida Ward, the victim, were two young women from Memphis who developed a romantic relationship. Ooh. So at the time, there was this thing in the 1800s called chumming. And chumming was when girls would be like, ooh. Girls were like overly affectionate with each other, and they would write each other love letters, and they would declare their love for each other, and they would sleep in the same bed, and they would hold hands, and they would gallivant around town. Some of them would even kiss. Ooh. Basically, society was like, girls can't like girls. That's crazy. So they deemed it, like, chumming was deemed as a way to practice being romantic to your future husband. And Alice at the time, I'll mention this briefly, was an educated woman, meaning she went to university or college or whatever they called it at the time. I only mentioned this because they believed that if women had an education beyond, I guess, high school or beyond wherever their stopping period was, they could no longer have children because their brain, the knowledge in their brain was sucking out the hormones in their ovaries or some stupid shit like that. So if you were an educated woman, they assumed you were barren and probably crazy. So that's something to keep in mind, because their brain was too big. Yeah, like all the power of using your brain, because, you know, you're a woman. Using your brain is hard. It's hard work using your brain as a woman. So they believed that you were probably barren because all the egg conversion to brain cells. Yeah, exactly. That sounds kinky. Ooh, wait, being barren? Yeah, all of your education had a long way to go. Yes, yes, yes. But if you're a man, it didn't affect your balls, apparently. I wonder why. Ooh, who was doing this tests, I wonder. Biology was different for them. It was. But anyway, so these two girls were doing the chumming thing. They were holding hands, writing love letters, being kissy-kissy. Ooh, mwah, 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 mwah. And then... Bimbo. Hey! And then they developed a romantic relationship. And Alice had a plan. She was like, we should run away. We should get married. And Frida was like, but Alice, I can't marry a woman. And Alice was like, I got this, Frida. So she began dressing like a man in like suits and top hats, you know, fancy Victorian regalia. And changed her name to Alvin J. Ward. Ooh! Frida's father intercepted a romantic letter between them where they found out about the plan. And they were like, I think this is kind of inappropriate. And you've got to think about it, right? Because chumming was so popular. So how far did the chumming go? Like, what was in that letter? Like, I want to split you open, Frida, and lick you like, I don't know, like what? A Cadbury caramel cream egg. And then that's when her dad was like, hold up. Hold up. That's a bit inappropriate. The 1800s were a weird time. Yeah, isn't that sort of happened in ancient Greece too, right? They would have like, dudes would have like chumming with other dudes. Maybe their lives would have been better with Tiny Tim. You should do final meals and words. I have done a final meals one. I have. Gonna pry you open like a grilled cheese sandwich. Lick you like a lollipop. No, I don't think that works. It has to, well, anyway. Oh, it went way beyond chumming in ancient Greece. Well, it went way beyond chumming here. So I'm wondering what's in the letter that her dad read. It'd be like your dad reading your sexts. And he was like, no! So then he arranged for Frida to return home because she was living away from home currently. And he had arranged a man for her to marry. A good man, not a bad man. A man. A man, though. And then she cut off all contact with Alice. And Alice was sitting there. She was stewing. She was like, why would Frida do this to me? She doesn't love me anymore. She wants a man. Draw nudes in the letter. How do they separate the boys from the men in the Spartan Navy with a crowbar? What the? Eat you like a glazed donut. Oh, I love a glazed donut. Oh, so good. Oh, Frida, I can't wait for you to get into the Sonic the Hedgehog costume. What? They were more straight up in ancient Greece. Here's a headliner. French fries. Yeah. And then... what were you up to? Oh, yeah. And then Alice was just in this rage. She was like, maybe Frida does want to be with me. So she tries to contact Frida, and Frida was like, I mustn't speak to you. I'm going to marry a man. And then Alice said, as you wish. And then the next day, as Frida was walking, I don't know, by the river or something. Where do people walk in the Victorian era? I don't know. Buy something. Anyway, she went crazy. She purchased a straight razor, and she told her friends that she was going to fix the matter. Quote unquote. Fix the matter. So on January 25th, 1892, Alice encountered Frida and her sister walking along the riverbank. Oh, there was water. And then without speaking, she approached Frida and sliced her throat with the razor. And then she was like, that's not enough. Nay, nay, she deserves much more for what she has done. She sliced her throat a second time. Frida fell to the ground. Blood splattered everywhere. I added that part. I assume so, right? They used to love wearing white. You know there was blood everywhere. The wounds are fatal, and Frida died almost immediately. Alice did not run. Witnesses restrained her until the police arrived, and she admitted to killing Frida, stating she acted because Frida was going to marry someone else and her heart was broken. And okay, wait for this. So after this went live, after this was printed in the newspaper, no one cared about the murder. They were like, what do you mean? There were 2 girls caught lesbianating. What do you mean the girls were caught lesbianating? More people were more shocked by that. They were like, maybe this chumming thing is a bit weird. But then they were like, don't forget that Alice was an educated woman. And then all the girls went, ah! And they stopped reading. But they framed it. Who up lesbianating? Girl on girls caught lesbianating. Straight to the asylum with her. But they called their relationship, quote, unnatural and confusing. The case became one of the earliest widely reported examples of queer female violence in the US. During her trial, Alice was declared insane. I mean, because she was a lesbian, not because she murdered anyone. And she was committed to Western State Hospital for the Insane in Bolivar, Tennessee, where her condition deteriorated. She suffered very much from the lesbianism. She never regained her freedom and died in institution in 1898 at the age of 28. There was no release or parole. Honestly, probably because they were scared she was going to go out there and start kissing other girls. I feel like this whole thing was not even based on the murder. If she had murdered a man, they probably would have been like, she was just so in love with him. Let's let her go. I really feel like it was the lesbianism that got her institutionalized and never released. Gay lesbians in the old days? Yes. Just the lesbianism, nothing else, surely. I feel like probably, because the newspapers were like, there was a murder, but she was a lesbian, in all caps. But here's one of the newspaper clippings, so you can see Miss Alice, and it says, Alice had no use for men. The, quote, girl lover, why is it in quotes? Tried at Memphis 10, sexual perversion that led to atrocious murder last January. As you can see, they brought up her lesbianism 3 separate times in one sentence. So I feel like, you know. They say girl lover like it was a slur. Exactly. Sexual perversion, no use for men. I wonder if, like, lesbianism was one of the reasons chumming died down. A bunch of people were like, maybe they're holding hands because they like each other, not because they're practicing for their future husbands. They're kissing on the chair. And then they're just like, we're practicing for our husbands. Don't worry, Dad. Slitting someone's throat in broad daylight is pretty brazen. Yes, she was obviously insane, but the lesbianism drove her crazy. Chumming kind of came back in a way in the 2000s. Yeah, I hold hands with my friends. Yeah, that makes sense. But I don't kiss them. I don't kiss them. I have shared beds, but I don't kiss them. My. Things were so simple back then. I know. Crazy unnatural relationship. My friends, when I tell them I love the clown woman that kidnapped me. She didn't even reach 30. No. So murder is okay, but lesbianism is a crime. Honestly, very much so. In the 1800s. Are you sure about that? And whose fault is that? You're right. You're right. This is all my fault. All right. Next we shall talk about Kate Webster. This photo is horrifying. Okay, can I tell you a secret? The first time I saw this photo, I immediately thought of Tom Holland. Tell me she doesn't look Tom Holland-esque to you. It might just be British face, but I feel like she kind of looks like Tom Holland. No, just me. Something tells me you'll break out by stream's end. She's kind of posing. I see it. You see it, right? As soon as I like looked up her photo, I was like, that's Tom Holland. It looks like a production still from an upcoming Blumhouse movie. True, like The Woman in Black or something. Also, the fur trim on that coat, amazing. That necklace, ooh. The hat, I could do without. But the coat over the arm, what a mugshot. I love vintage mugshots because they didn't have the traditional ones. They would just be like a headshot close-up of them looking fabulous, and then a photo of them standing beside a chair. That's how they gauge their height, from the height of the chair. That's just British face Mira. She looks like him. I'm sorry, maybe they were related. William Dafoe? I don't see William Dafoe here. It just looks like Tom Holland in a dress. She's seen things. So Kate Webster was an Irish domestic servant with a history of petty theft. She worked on and off for Julia Martha Thomas, who was a middle-aged widow who was quite wealthy. And she often criticized Kate, her work and her behavior. So their relationship wasn't great. Evan Peters. No! Wait! It does look like Evan Peters too! But now I can't unsee it! What if the police department used a bigger or smaller chair? I believe they had than the other police station. That's a good point. Who knows? You see it? I can see it now. Now I can't unsee it. I think interacting with wealthy Karens might have pushed her over the edge. Well, we're about to find out. So neighbors would complain about them arguing with each other, which is kind of funny. Why wouldn't you just fire your maid at that point? I don't know. So Webster, the murderer, later claimed Thomas was difficult to please, and others reported that Kate was volatile and resentful to authority. Which, why would you become a maid or a domestic? I don't know. Good Mira Morn, Mira Morn. Well, according to our chair, the perp was 8 feet tall. They have the world's tiniest chair. So on March 2nd, 1879, after a fight inside the home, Kate shoved Julia down the stairs and strangled her. Double whammy. Once she was dead, Kate dismembered the body using a carving knife. Honestly, the most impressive thing about this whole thing. Imagine using a carving knife to dismember a body. That would have taken ages. She had so many opportunities to stop and change her mind, but she was committed. So, she then boiled the body parts to destroy... She boiled parts of the body to destroy evidence, and other portions were thrown into the Thames River and in the rubbish, like, heaps around Richmond. The decapitated head was missing for over a century. We'll talk about that in a second. After disposing of the body, Kate dressed in Julia's clothes and impersonated her around town. How do you get away with that? Does anyone... Hello, I am Julia. And then everyone's like, I don't think that's Julia. They just ignored it. That's a lot of effort. Even more? Yep. Lesbianating was not on my vocabulary bingo card today. I love the word lesbianating. Maybe her work was so good and new trainees so few that her superior tolerated the occasional theft, and geez, what a way to go. Well, now that we're talking about theft, she was posing as Julia at this point, but then she also tried selling the contents of her house as if she were the legal owner. She was just selling everything in it. That's an extra layer of creepy. I mean, back in the day, if they never knew her. But it's around town, so I assume it's a small community, so someone must know her, right? Right? Anyway, suspicion grew quickly when Kate attempted to rent out Thomas's house and pawned the items belonging to the woman. I like how that was the giveaway. They were like, guys, I think Julia looks a little different, but Julia would never rent out a room in her house. That's insane. Hey, Julia, you look thinner and shorter and a different age and a different ethnicity. And she really despised that contractor. She keeps to herself. Perhaps if that were the case, for sure. Wait, that's a woman? It's not Tom Holland in drag. Depends how transient it is. That's true. That is true. Witnesses also reported seeing her carrying a heavy package towards the river on the night of the murder. I wonder what it could have been. When police investigated the disappearance, inconsistencies in Kate's story and the discovery of Thomas's remains led authorities to arrest her. She fled to Ireland but was located and captured within weeks, then extradited back to London. Kate was tried at the Old Bailey, where evidence of dismemberment, theft, and impersonation made conviction swift. She was sentenced to death and hanged at the Wandsworth prison in July 29th, 1879. She didn't have an excuse for the killing. She did try to say self-defense, but like, if you pushed her down the stairs, that would be self-defense. If you push her down the stairs, strangle her, dismember her, hide her body parts, that really has moved past self-defense. That's a little bit beyond self-defense. Now, back to Julia, because I said her skull was missing for 100 years. So they were doing construction on a property owned by David Attenborough. You know, the animal guy. The British one, you know, the famous one. They found Julia Thomas's skull. So I wonder if maybe perhaps, I don't know, she buried it somewhere, or she buried it under that property and no one checked, and then 100 years later they were renovating stuff and found her skull, you know? Kate never was released and she died. She got hung. Of course she wasn't released. Why does that sound like you're a tour guide? I would love to be a tour guide at an abandoned place. Like somewhere in the floors. That's what I'm thinking, because we've had a few... I mean, we've already spoken about one person hiding a body. I assume it was easy to hide people under floorboards. Yeah. In your best David Attenborough impression. Here we see a skull. What a beautiful skull. This skull has lived here for a century, undisturbed, but now, with the construction workers appearing, they are in grave danger. Like in the Telltale Heart, yeah. Tour guide really suits you. Oh, shall we have a tour guide stream? All right, next we shall be talking about Minnie Dean. We're heading over to New Zealand. New Zealand for this one. I am innocent. This is also from a newspaper clipping. It says, Miss Minnie Dean was executed at 8 today. Oh my god, okay, we have to talk about this. She walked firmly to the scaffold in reply to the sheriff. Why am I speaking in a British accent? She's New Zealand. Miss Minnie Dean, I can't do a New Zealand accent, was executed at 8 today. She walked firmly to the scaffold. In reply to the sheriff, she had nothing to say except, I am innocent. Hey, that's my heart. What accent was that? I'm sorry, I can't do a New Zealand accent. Unless the words fish and chips are here. She walked firmly to the deck. To the dick. Death was instantaneous. Hundreds of people assembled outside the jail and stopped 3 hours without breakfast. What a funny thing to add. Be like, everyone's so excited. They waited 3 whole hours and didn't eat breakfast because they wanted to see the execution. Crazy. She's gone full British. British and New Zealand are the same place. You're right. The British reporter. Just do an Aussie accent. It'll do. Let's take care of a haunted forest when we retire. Yeah! I like that idea. Mira fumbling her accents. I don't know a New Zealand accent. Kind of reminds me of the Lizzie Borden rhyme. Oh, yeah. Minnie Dean. Lizzie Borden. Well, I can't even remember it. Lizzie Borden gave her father 50 whacks? And gave her mom 50 what? Damn it, I can't remember it. It was a good one. 5th stream streak. Welcome. Hello. They woke up at 5 a.m. to see someone die? No, I think it was at 8 a.m., right? 9, 10, 11. So they basically were having lunch by the end of it, which honestly feels like a them problem. No. The disrespect in this chat. New Zealander sounds slightly similar to Australian. Slightly similar, but they have a wild way of saying their vowels, which I've never picked up. But that would be hilarious. Come on. Come on, that would be hilarious. So Minnie Dean was a baby farmer. You're like, what's a baby farmer? So in the 1800s, getting pregnant was a terrible thing to happen, and abortions weren't very over the table or safe or commonly done. So unmarried women, mothers would surrender their babies to caregivers, and they would pay to be able to do this. So they'd be like, I'll give you $200. Here's my child. Make sure they find a happy home and be raised. So this is what Minnie Dean did. Lizzie Borden took an axe, gave her mother 40 whacks. When she saw what she had done, gave her father 41. That's the rhyme. Thank you. So she was like proxy mom. It was basically what an orphanage would have been, but it was assumed that these were better than orphanages, which, you know, we'll find out. So Dean advertised her services widely and frequently failed to produce records of where the children ended up. Red flag. Over time, people had concerns because a lot of the babies in her care vanished without explanation. She would have a baby one day and then the next day would be gone. And her house was overcrowded and poorly equipped. She did not have all the room for these babies, but she was taking in so many babies. And she always was pretty secret about everything. Like I said, no records. So it was assumed that perhaps she was accepting far more children than she could safely care for, which I don't think is a terrible argument, especially if she was if she had a fee lower than other baby farmers. So instead of, like, you know, $20, she was like, give me your child for $10. She was raking in babies. One-person orphanages. What a way to start. Yeah. So on May 2nd, 1895, she was boarding a train carrying a small hat box that appeared unusually heavy. So a station porter who was carrying it became a little bit suspicious and was like, hey, it's a hat box, but I don't know. I think there's something in there. So at the next stop, the police had been informed. So at the next stop, they stopped her. They intercepted her and they looked inside of the hat box. And they found the body of an infant named Ava Hornsby. Dean claimed that the child had died suddenly, but she had no documentation. And she didn't have any baby supplies, so it's like, did she die because you didn't feed her? You know. And she didn't seem upset that the baby was dead, which was kind of suspicious. And then they were like, we better search her property. And when they searched her property, they found 2 more infant bodies buried in shallow graves, and along with a bunch of evidence suggesting she used laudanum to drug or kill the children in her custody. Because she couldn't bear the crying of the children, she would drug them. I'm familiar with this story. And I remember hearing this, watching a documentary about this case particularly. Apparently, when people who were looking for children would tour her house, they said that the babies were unnaturally quiet. Like, there was, like, no noise. And you would assume that, you know, in an orphanage full of babies, the babies would be crying and screaming and you know. But they were just unusually quiet. Just sleeping constantly or just high as a kite. This is the first one that is not hot, only terrifying. Either deliberate or negligent. That's years in prison or worse. It was definitely deliberate. Well, now we know why exactly. I just mentioned that because I don't have it in my notes, but I remembered hearing that from one of the videos I watched about it. So investigators concluded that she would accept infants for money and dispose of them when caring for them became inconvenient. So if they were, like, not adopted quick enough, she was like, Time to go. Testimony from local mothers, neighbors, and merchants showed a pattern of deception and disappearance surrounding every child placed with her. So they would see the child, and then they would never see that child again. But then they'd be like, hey, I don't think we've seen anyone that come to the house to adopt a child. And then she would obviously make up a lie about it. Be like, no, really late at night, they came and took the baby. Sleeping for sure. So once this story came out, obviously the public was outraged, and media coverage depicted her as a symbol of moral decline and maternal corruption. Probably because she was unwed herself. Am I right, ladies? Minnie Dean was convicted of murder and sentenced to death. We already spoke briefly about the thing, but she was the only woman ever executed in New Zealand. Woo! Another women's first. Clap, 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 clap. Her conviction ended the practice of unregulated baby farming in the region. Yay! I mean, orphanages were probably still open, but at least baby farming. I mean, it's the 1800s. I don't think any place was a good place to end up. Orphanages, asylums. Weren't they like working homes? They weren't even really orphanages. They were working homes. Women on a roll. Let's go! Classic New Zealand W. Minnie, before her arrest, I think you mistake me for Mira, sir. I would never harm a baby. How dare you? I would do a lot of things, but you would not harm a baby. Come on. They can't fight back. If you're gonna harm someone, harm someone that can fight back at least, right? Unregulated, excuse me? Yeah. You're like, what do you mean? Kazuma approves of this message. Thank you. What about baby pawn shops? Basically was, right? So that is the case of Minnie Dean. Next, we will talk about Christiana Edmonds, the chocolate cream poisoner. The extraordinary charge of poisoning by a lady close of the inquiry, committal of Miss Edmonds for murder. The intense interest which is manifested by all classes in the proceedings taken against Miss Christiana Edmonds deepens as the case progresses, and on Thursday, when she was again brought up for examination. So this is an article. Oh my god, I can't wait to show you one of the newspaper clippings I have. It's so funny. The ad for it is hilarious. Okay, so this was Miss Christiana Edmonds. I resized something else for sure, but not what I wanted to. Here she is in court, looking lovely as ever. What a hairstyle. A poisoner. There's a theme with poison moving forward. It's always poison. I thought that sentence would go somewhere else. Wow. Damn, Mira beat me to a joke there. Where's the challenge? I think it's worse that this kind of thing continues to this day. Like, I remember the states of... Yes! Hid the living kids in a secret room. Luckily, none fatal. There was also the one with the baby farm. The women that were the IVF thing. They were bringing women from overseas to the US and then like tying them up and feeding them hormones to harvest their eggs for like IVF. That's insane. I was like, when I heard the headline, I was like, surely they're exaggerating. And then I read the article and I was like, oh my god. It's insane. That's insane and sounds highly illegal. No, it was all within the... It was all... excuse me, we actually have the correct paperwork to harvest eggs. What did I come back to? Dark history. 100% illegal. Of course. But absolutely insane. Like, how does that even happen? Like, how do you bring people into the country? I wonder if they were coming in on tourist visas. And then being kept here. I don't know. I can't fight that logic. I think you mistake me for Mira, sir. Okay, next. Christiana Edmonds. She liked to poison people in chocolates. So Christiana Edmonds was a middle-class woman in Brighton. Oh, we love Brighton! Who became infatuated with Dr. Charles Beard. Like I told you yesterday, they always fall in love with doctors. I don't know why. He was a married physician who rejected her, which is surprising. He rejected her attempts at a romantic relationship. After the rejection, she became obsessed with the idea that if she killed his wife, he would fall in love with her. which is not how that generally works, but I mean, I guess shoot your shot, right? So she was trying to find a way to do it without attracting suspicion, and I mean, I would argue she picked the most suspicious thing. She had access to chemists and sweet shops, so she began her discreet poisoning campaign. You will realize why this wasn't very discreet in a second. So between 1871 and 1874, she would purchase chocolate creams from a local confectioner. Okay, so she would purchase them. She would lace them with strychnine. I can never read these words. And then she would return them to the shop's shelves. Which, come on. If I'm gonna buy chocolate, poison it, and then return it, is that not suspicious? They would have record of that, right? I feel like it's very suspicious. Strychnine, is that how you say it? But there's another N. Strychnine. Oh, strychnine, never mind. Yeah, okay, now I see where I was getting... I should be a doctor. So you can have crazy Victorian women throw themselves at you. Legality is a question and the answer was no. I feel like that's just so obvious what you were doing. So customers would unknowingly purchase this and consume the poison sweets. And there was like widespread illness and the death of a young child, a boy in specifically. And you're like, okay, so if she wanted to kill, was she just hoping that the woman would buy the chocolate? No. No. She was gonna send the poisoned chocolates to her, and then she assumed that the trail of all sick customers and the young boy dying would just be like, oh, she died because everyone was getting sick around this time, not because she was murdered. It was a very weird, like, I feel like that's kind of obvious. I don't know. But she was trying to make it just seem like, oh, people were randomly being poisoned in Brighton, kind of like the Tylenol thing, but way before the Tylenol thing. So when she targeted Miss Beard directly, it would blend into a larger, unexplained pattern. So she sent several poison items to the Beard house under anonymous letters. Also, if I got anonymous chocolate, I'm not eating that shit. What? 1800s version of the Tylenol. Exactly. She would just keep doing this over and over. Yep. She was trying to establish a pattern. So the plot unraveled. I feel like I'm gonna throw up. I need to eat something. God, that Tylenol thing is so stupid. Wow, what do you mean? Or mass deaths? Well, it looks like she made a lot of people sick. Not enough to kill them. So was she just trying to make her sick? Also, her husband's a doctor. Like, I feel like you should have just committed to killing her. Like, her husband would help there. You okay over there, Mira? Yeah, I'm just feeling a little nauseous. Probably because I had energy drinks on an empty stomach. Quick eat. I think I sipped some water and it might settled my stomach. It's gonna be like this for a few days, but I'll be fine. Don't eat chocolate on us now. Please eat something not poison. Don't tell me what to do. But I just feel like everything she did was so suspicious. One, you bought chocolate. You bought them. You didn't even steal them. If you stole them and put them back, there would be no record. But you bought them. You poisoned them. You returned them. People were getting sick. People were dying. Then you send the chocolates anonymously to the family. No one's gonna eat that. This whole thing's so suspicious. But the shopkeepers recognized the packaging she kept returning. And when chemists reported selling her large quantities of strychnine, is that how you say it again? They traced the poisoned chocolates back to her. Wow, who would have guessed? The easiest case ever. They solved it in like an hour. They found more evidence from her correspondences and her purchases. She showed little remorse, and she insisted that she had been misunderstood. And she wasn't a criminal. She didn't have murderous intent. She was just in love with the doctor. Strychnine, not strychnine. Strychnine. Death seems like a roundabout way to give discomfort to everybody except the intended victim. Right? Misunderstood death penalty. So, she didn't get the death penalty. She did kill a young boy. I feel like she should have gotten the death penalty, but, you know, it was a crime of passion. It wasn't premeditated murderous intent. But she was arrested, tried, and found guilty, but insane. She was sentenced to indefinite confinement, life in prison, at Broadmoor Criminal Lunatic Asylum in 1872. She was institutionalized for the next 35 years and died in 1907, and she never was released. And her case was one of Victorian Britain's most infamous examples of female perpetrated poisoning. I say that because women were out here poisoning everyone. She really is just like Mira. I like poisoning people. Just kidding. But let me... Oh yeah, that is the newspaper article. Sounds like something Mira would do to us. I would not poison... Oh my god, you know what that reminds me of? Have you seen that TikTok trend where the woman wanted her husband to propose to her, so she put her used panties at the bottom, like she'd put them in the jar with the powdered coffee, so like shake it up, and then every morning her boyfriend unknowingly would make cups of coffee with the essence of her used underwear, and then within the year she got proposed to, and she's like, ladies, if you're trying to get a ring, you're trying to get your boyfriend to become your husband, put your used panties in their coffee, and every morning he'll have a sip of that coffee and start thinking about you. I'm saying, oh, what? Excuse me? I want to show you... Nope. I want to show you this article. Okay, so next we're talking about Mary Ann Cotton, who was also a poisoner, but she is recognized as Britain's first female serial killer. Now, the reason this is so funny to me... Look at the ad. Look at the ad. Arsenical lotion. She was killing everyone with arsenic. They knew. Also, they made up a nursery rhyme. Local children have been heard singing a chilling nursery rhyme about the fate of Miss Cotton as they play. It's quite funny. Arrested yesterday in West Auckland and taken to Durham jail where she awaits trial for her heinous crimes. That is just iconic. You know, at the newspaper, they're like, do we still have that arsenic lotion sponsorship? Do we have to do the ad run? Yes, I've got the perfect page. Front page next to Mary Ann Cotton, the female poisoner. Great ad placement. It's great. Good old arsenic. We love a good arsenic. Another one with the creepy nursery rhyme. Yeah, wasn't the black ring around a rosy about the black plague? I think at most Samira would just throw pie at us. A poisoned pie. But definitely not poisoned. Exactly. I would never. Why does this coffee taste extra sour? I don't want to think about it. It's so crazy. Why would you do that with someone's coffee? Okay, so Mary Ann Cotton. So she spent her life moving from town to town in northern England. And she would often remarry and become widowed. I think we know where this is going. So she would just like get married. See, this is what I'm saying. You gotta move from town to town. You can't just stay in the same location. She'd get married. I mean, we don't know if she actually killed them, so we can't claim that. But she had a bunch of widows, right? So we can assume, judging by the future. So wherever she lived, her families began dying of sudden gastric illnesses, vomiting, stomach pain, and, you know, if you know anything about arsenic poisoning. But basically, if you were working class at the time, you didn't really do autopsies. So if they had done an autopsy, they would have realized it was arsenic poisoning. But of course, working class people didn't get autopsies. Maybe they just assumed you worked yourself to death. And every time she murdered someone, she would benefit financially or socially. So she would get like insurance payouts. The community would come and support her. Actually, let me switch to her photo. Or people would come out to support her. Also, she would get a lot of sympathy. They'd be like, wow, Mary Ann's such a great woman. She's just looking after her sick family. Little did they know she was the one making them sick. Exploding pie. Ooh, maybe. That sounds like fun. Yes, it was, but it's specifically Victorian-era murders that got overt, creepy nursery rhymes written about them, like the one about Burke and Hare. There's so many nursery rhymes. I wonder who was making them up. Surely the children. They always think, oh, I'll get away with this. Surely no consequences will come my way. And then the consequences still follow suit in one way or another. The thing is, if they had stopped at like 1 or 2 or 3, hey, even 5, people got sick a lot in the Victorian era. But they just kept going. This woman in particular killed about 21 people that they can connect to dying under suspicious circumstances. She just has such tragic luck. But she did do a lot of this for the sympathy from other people and just being like, wow, she's such a great woman. So over 2 decades, she killed at least 21 people. Do the math. She was averaging like 1 person a year. Oh, what happened to my internet? Hello? 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 Am I still live? Am I still live? Okay, I'm back. I'm alive. Her hands are huge. Oh my god, I didn't even notice. What the f- She's the Energizer Bunny of death, apparently. Still alive? Okay, good. I don't know what happened there. I died for a second, but I have returned. They can't give me the death sentence. So she was averaging like 1 person a year, sometimes 2. And she killed 3 husbands, a lover, her mother, a number of children and stepchildren. So what would happen was she would kill her husband, right? She would get the insurance money, and then we're gonna be like, oh my god, this poor widow, she has like three stepchildren, and she's like, I need to get rid of these stepchildren. So then she would make them sickly, and I remember this story. She would put it in their soup. Allegedly. She would put it in their soup, so she'd be like, you must drink your soup to regain your strength. Meanwhile, they were just getting sicker and sicker. And it's not like she gave them a big dose to kill them immediately. She kept them sick for a while, which I feel like is kind of sick. I've said sick a lot. Which I feel like is kind of messed up, right? Like to extend their pain and suffering to make yourself look good and then benefit from the insurance payouts is kind of crazy. That's an incredible KDA ratio. 21 to 1. 0 assists. Top frag for sure. That's not what last meal means. Exactly. It's always the soup. That's sadistic, right? Take some real hate. You've got to be like really unstable. But perhaps some comfort. You will receive some comfort from the way she died. She poisoned them through food and drink, typically tea or porridge or soup, and often complained openly about the burdens they placed on her shortly before they fell ill. So imagine gossiping to your friends and being like, oh god, my stepson is a fucking nightmare. Oh, he wets the bed, and then you just kill him. So the final turning point came when her 7-year-old stepson, Charles, passed away. Before he died, she had told people he was quote-unquote in the way. And then he died shortly after that. Good morning! Good morning! The physician finally requested an autopsy. Because they were getting suspicious. I mean, it took 20 people before they got suspicious. No, I'm guessing because she moved from town to town. It was probably, she was in one place too long. I'm guessing the stepchildren. If you're just killing your husbands, that's like one person. But if you're also killing your stepchildren, then you're kind of, what's the word? When everything happens in like one location, it gets suspicious. So they found arsenic in Charles's stomach, and that made investigators exhume a bunch of bodies of people that Marianne had known, and most of the remains showed arsenic poisoning. And the accumulation, that's the word I was thinking of. I knew I wrote it, and I'm like, how come I can't remember it? The accumulation of suspicious deaths, and toxicology results gave police the evidence they needed. She was arrested and charged with Charles's murder. She denied everything. I'll have you know. Even though the arsenic was there, she's like, I don't know how that got there. But the public turned on her pretty quickly, and newspapers started going back through her history and talking to friends, I guess, and being like, oh, and also her first husband died, and her second husband died, and her third husband died, and then her kids died, and then her other stepkids died, and then Charles died. So the newspaper was actually doing some reporting. So she was convicted of murder in 1873 and was sentenced to death. She was hanged at Durham Jail. I think this is the second execution we've seen at Durham Jail. On March 24th in 1873. Can I just say, that was a really quick trial. So she would have been tried in like what? January, February? And within the month, they were like, hang her. But wait, there's more. Yes, there is more. So when they went to execute her, it was by hanging. Her neck didn't break. So usually when you have a hanging, the idea is that your neck breaks. But it didn't. So she got strangled. She got strangled to death by the noose. She's thick. What the fuck? So she had a slow, torturous death, which I mean maybe gave some comfort to some people. Ouch, yeah. She was only charged for the one murder, so the execution was based on Charles. But the newspaper, yeah, the newspaper helped her once. The newspaper did their research, and she's considered Britain's first female serial killer. So you know. Yeah. Oof, oof indeed. Oof indeed. I mean, whatever she got in the afterlife made up for it. Yeah. Could only hope. They're all just sitting there feeding her poison every day of her life. If the afterlife is like American Horror Story Coven, where you just relive your like the worst day of your life. I like how she just ended up in a cottage with her husband in the middle of nowhere because she was so obsessed with like glitz and glamour, and they put her in like a not even a bad home. I was like, this is quite nice. And then she started screaming. She's like, no, I don't want to spend eternity with my husband in a house. So it's just her being like, no, I don't want to eat the porridge. They're like, eat the porridge. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good. Struggled like poison given. Exactly. What's wrong, babe? You haven't touched your arsenic sandwich yet. What did you say? Nothing. Okay, next we are talking about Wanda Stopper. Isn't she pretty? Isn't she pretty? She's a case of good girl gone bad. Wanda Stopper. I love the fluffy hair, mind you. So this was in 1924. She's rather cute. She's a little cutie. She looks so educated, and that was her first problem. So she was Chicago's first female federal prosecutor. Why can't I prosecutor? God damn it. I was like, persecutor? That doesn't make sense. Prosecutor. I can fix her. I hope this comment doesn't age poorly. Ooh, she's very 1950s coded. I think the hair is more 1920s because it's a bit more fluffy. They like the more sleek look in the 50s. So Wanda was a gifted young Polish immigrant, and she achieved notoriety as Chicago's first female federal prosecutor. Isn't that cool? A woman first. Everyone clap. What could possibly go wrong? She's the first female prosecutor. Suddenly she abandoned her legal career to join the Bohemian art scene. Huh? Bohemia? Huh? Before the hippies in the 60s, we had the Bohemians in the 20s. Oh, she's pretty neat. Yeah. But then she quit. So she joined a commune. She joined a communal creative circle, and she began a romantic relationship with a wealthy married man named W.W. O'Brien. Wanda grew infatuated with this man, and friends said that she convinced herself that their relationship was destined, even though he was married. She just decided, like, you know, we'll be together forever. And O'Brien told her, he said to her, I'm not leaving my wife. And she was like, okay. We're destined to be together. Oh, quite a turn. She knew the law too well. She convinced herself, yep, I can already see how this is gonna end. A beatnik poet hippie. Yep, this is what happened. On April 22nd, 1924, Wanda confronted him and his wife at their home. And she was carrying a handgun, which she said was for protection, but I don't think anyone was going to do anything. They had an argument, and Wanda raised the weapon. We don't know whether she was trying to threaten them or scare them, but apparently, according to her, the gun discharged, striking and killing the couple's chauffeur, Henry Manning. I don't believe her, but okay. Protection? I don't know. Again, this is like, what did you expect to happen? You're gonna show up with a gun and then he's like, you're right. I will leave my wife because I love you and you're very not crazy and will never wake up one day and try to kill me in my sleep. What? Miss Mira, hello. Hello, hello. Hell yeah, she's a yandere. Till death do you part. They used to live in German, speaking empires until the WWs redrew the borders. Oh. Protection, sure, bud. Such is the way of things back then, I suppose. I don't know. Low dysfunction. I just don't understand the... I want to say I don't understand the logic, but I guess most of these people are crazy. But yeah, after she shot the chauffeur, she ran. She ran, and she was on the run, and her disappearance started a multi-state manhunt, and newspapers, they called her an unstable intellectual, whose love had driven her crazy. Again, I mean, this is in the 20s and they're still pandering to this argument, but what can you say? So she moves from boarding house to boarding house. Boarding houses are like where you would live. You'd rent like a little room and you could live there and people wouldn't know and you didn't have to sign a lease. You could just disappear. But so she would move from boarding house to boarding house and she would leave behind her diaries or like pages of her diaries. And they were like really messed up and emotional, and I think she might have had BPD. Police found her in a small hotel in Michigan. Why are you giving me kisses right now? I'm talking about women that murder. Yeah, exactly. Calypso's here. Calypso's here if you haven't noticed. He's been getting head scratches for the last 5 minutes, but he's no longer satisfied. They caught her in a small hotel in Michigan, where she had ingested a fatal dose of morphine. Yeah. So because she died before she could be arrested or tried, she never faced sentencing. She never had to pay for her crimes. And we don't really have any answers for anything. Like, we don't know. We don't know her... Excuse me. We don't know her mental state, although I would argue her diaries entries told us she was a bit crazy. But we don't know if she had wanted to kill him or if it was an accident, or what her plan was that day. Like, we just don't know anything. We're listening to O'Brien here, and also who knows if O'Brien was telling the truth. But she did flee, so I'm assuming she did kill Henry Manning. He's done with foreplay. Bird kisses. Bird kisses. Calypso wants to retribute the love. Calypso has a type. He does. She's not crazy, just dedicated. Was she dedicated if she ran from the scene like a little bitch? No. She sounds like she was very ill and just kind of committed to the murderous life. I mean, the fall from like the first female federal prosecutor to joining a commune to killing a man, running, and then ending your life with morphine is an experience. She didn't stand on business. Exactly. If you love someone, you be committed. She became a side character in Death Note. Yeah. And then O'Brien and his wife. I mean, I feel like his wife probably had some words for him, like, who was she? He's like, I don't know her. Just some random woman who showed up. I mean, since we know. Okay, this woman is fabulous. All right, next we're talking about Ruth Snyder, the murder of Albert Snyder. And okay, for this one, I don't know if you want to look it up, but we'll talk about it. A journalist smuggled in a small camera to this woman's execution. I believe he wrapped it around his ankle. I can't remember. But he took a photo of her in the electric chair. You can see the photo. I don't think it's graphic, but I also don't think I can show it on YouTube. But you can look it up if you want. I've been pulling them up on the side. Yeah, so if you want to see it, because usually you're not allowed to have cameras in the execution room, obviously. Let me put Calypso back in his cage so he can have some breakfast. Good boy. All right. He is enjoying his breakfast. She'll bark, no bite. Hi, Mir. How you doing? I'm doing good, thank you. How are you? Can't believe the morphine went off like that. Morphine was like a huge party drug. I think even from the 1800s, they were super into morphine, and they would have like huffing gas parties. The Victorians had too much time on their hands. Frankly, if I'm being frank, too much time and too much money. So Ruth was a housewife, and she was in an affair with a married corset salesman. I mean, if you're gonna have an affair with someone, make it be a corset salesman. Do you know how much corsets are? Oof. Named Judd Gray. Dissatisfied with her marriage and frustrated by her husband Albert's control over finances and household decisions, Ruth pressured Gray to help her murder him, and he agreed, as you do. I mean, a woman in a corset is a beautiful thing. That photo would violate her right to privacy. What? The execution photo? I don't know. I don't know. I don't have anything to say to that. I don't know. I don't know the laws about that. Because aren't they not filmed? Are they not broadcast on camera now? I don't know. I feel like they're recorded now, right? I don't know too much about that process. Was cheating worthy of prosecution during her time? Well, I mean, I think you missed the fact that that her and her lover, the corset salesman, that's a crazy image, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know why it's fuzzy. I don't know if it's she's being electrocuted at that point or if the camera was just fuzzy because it was taken from a stealth angle. They're not broadcast, but it's kind of while the public was able to have access to it. Okay, this might be just from my knowledge in movies, but don't they invite like the family of the victims to watch the execution and journalists for some reason if the family allows it? I don't know, but since this is a historic image, it's not an issue. Yeah, but you never know, and I can't go up against bots. Like, if I try to appeal something on YouTube, I just deal with bots constantly. There's no people. Yes, the family, yes. It depends, really. Yeah, that's my knowledge of... Like, I know about the execution process, but my knowledge of... who attends and who films and stuff like that, because I've seen footage from like cameras when they're like security cameras. I guess they have security cameras, so it's technically recorded, right? But I guess it doesn't have to be. I don't know. YouTube bots do be annoying. Yeah, you can't get any help from anyone because no one's a real person. The two planned the murder for months, intending to stage it as a burglary. However, they suck at planning. They suck at planning, and it was a terrible idea. So on March 20th, 1927, Ruth and Gray attacked Albert while he was asleep. They strangled him with a sash. I mean, hopefully a silk one. Hit him with a heavy weight and attempted to smother him with chloroform-soaked rags. The struggle was messy, and Albert fought for his life before he eventually died. Ruth and Gray then turned over a bunch of furniture, scattered belongings everywhere, and tied Ruth to a chair with loose knots to make the scene look like a home invasion. I cannot stress this enough. If you're going to do this, like, this has happened in so many cases. I'm thinking about the one in America with the, what was her name? Something Lynn. She also did this. She had her boyfriend and his thugs come and try and kill her family, and then tied her up in the bedroom. You have to injure yourself, please. Don't just tie you to a chair. Get him to smash you over the head with something heavy as well. Like, you need to be injured. You can't just be sitting there tied up being like, oh my, I don't know what could have possibly happened. Anyway, the police showed up, and within minutes they were like, this didn't happen. This didn't happen. How many crimes did they decided to stage? All of them? Yeah, I don't know. The photographer was able to get the photo by sneaking in an ankle cam. Okay, yeah, so I was wondering if it was an ankle cam. It was. Because I vaguely remember it being said it was an ankle cam. There's a reason why criminals shoot themselves to make it look real. Exactly! Shoot her somewhere. Stab her in the leg. Man, I don't know. Hit her over the head with something heavy. Strangle her a little bit, but not enough that she dies. Just so she gets some bruising, you know? Yeah, but the police arrived and they were like, hey, it doesn't look like there's any forced entry points anywhere in the house. So unless you left your door wide open. But anyway, they started interrogating them, and Gary crumbled immediately. Immediately. This man just spilled everything. He gave them the entire plan. Her role as the instigator. Everything. The police arrived promptly 7 hours later. She was just in that chair for 7 hours like, I did it, officer. Folded under zero pressure, yeah. They put him in an interrogation room and he just started squealing. It's always Gary. It's always Gary. He just started squealing. The case became a sensation, and newspapers portrayed her as this manipulative woman who was vain and cold, which honestly, she also always looked fabulous in all of her photos. Like, her outfits were on point. The trial drew enormous crowds, and the public fascination intensified when a journalist managed to smuggle a small camera into Sing Sing prison to secretly photograph her execution. Did Gary think he'd get a lighter sentence? Most definitely. It's 1927. I don't believe Gary was... Ow. I don't know how long his trial was. I wish I had trial length. I feel like things were really speedy in the 20s. But he was also executed. Ruth was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to death. She was executed in the electric chair on January 12th, 1928. The hidden camera photo became one of the most infamous crime images of the 20th century. Do you know what? I actually believe this. I believe this is probably the most famous death image until God, not Anna Nicole Smith. What's her name? Blondie. Oh my God, why can't I think of her name? The actress that was like Marilyn, but she wasn't Marilyn. Car crash. She's the reason that like trucks have a certain... She's the reason why trucks have like hazard lights on the back, so you can see them now. 1950s. Oh my God, why is my brain... Jane Mansfield. Oh my God. My brain was dying. I feel like this photo was probably pretty famous until the Jane Mansfield one. Because they were just printing the crime scene photos, like the crime scene. They were printing the car crash photos in all the newspapers. No, not Diana. Diana, I know who you're talking about. She didn't die in a car crash, did she? She was supposed to be the replacement to Marilyn, though. But she took on a lot more slutty roles. Because they would hire her as sexy Marilyn. Yeah. And later that year, Gray was also executed. That's it. Yes, she did. Really? Diana died in a car accident? I didn't know that. Oh, Princess Diana. I thought you were talking about the actress Diana. Oh my god, no. Not yeah, Princess Diana. But I was talking... Princess Diana. Princess Diana did not die in a car accident in the 1950s. I think her name was like Diana Van something. Diana Van... Marilyn Monroe. Hi, Mira. Hello, hello. Diana Dors. Diana Dors. She was supposed to be Marilyn Monroe. I think she was British, though. Who can guarantee that? No, she didn't die in a car accident. She just died. She married a lot of people, though. I don't believe she ever had the same success that Marilyn had. But they would hire her as like a slutty Marilyn. And then she got pretty successful in Britain. I can't find her death. Her husband... Oh, here we go. No, that's her son. Oh my god, she had so much death in her family. She died of meningitis and cancer. God damn. Anyway, she had a lot. The tale of two Dianas. The Princess of Wales, I remember. Yes. But no, I was talking about Diana Dors. That was who I was mentioning. Was a very friendly peep, though the Queen was not a fan of her. She bowed at her funeral, though. She curtsied at her funeral. And that is the story of Ruth Snyder. Let us continue. We have 2 more left. We will speed this up. I must apply for bail. Next, we have Winnie Ruth Judd. This woman. Ooh, 1930s. Okay, please, if you have time, look up her photos. She was fabulous in every photo. Look at these furs. Look at that pin skirt. Look at that coat. Open. Look at that wraparound shirt. Stunning. Hair on point. Never a hair out of place. Beautiful. Diana was a real one. We'll bust you out. The original Aura Farmer. She is beautiful. So this is Winnie Ruth Judd. She was a medical secretary living in Phoenix during the Great Depression. She I don't know. She was friends with 2 women, Agnes Leroy and Hedvig Samuelson. They were all involved with the same man. So they were kind of like frenemies, right? Fierce. She's stunning. That coat is snazzy. Where are her legs, bro? What? What do you mean? It's a cut-off photo. Look them up. She looks stunning in all of them. Unfortunately, a lot of them are a little bit fuzzy, so I wanted to get some good ones. Some clear ones. So they were all like frenemies because they were all sort of into the same dude. So they were all jealous, insecure, and they would argue a lot with each other. And by October 1931, they had basically reached their breaking point. Water pie was made in the time. I mean, she was a medical secretary during the Great Depression, so you're not off. You're not off about the water pie thing. Rivals, yes. Why would you hang out with them and be friends with them? I don't know. The situationship, like the perfect breeding ground for crimes of passion. Amen. So on the night of October 16th, a confrontation at Agnes and Hedvig's home escalated into violence. Hedvig was shot and killed, and Agnes died after being stabbed multiple times during a struggle. Ruth claimed she acted in self-defense after being attacked. But once again, much like, who was it? Christiana? Not Christiana. Much like Kate Webster, if you stab someone multiple times and dismember them, not really self-defense. Your self-defense argument is pretty flimsy if you dismember someone, you know? I believe her. I mean, I would believe her too, dressed like that. I'd be like, you know, we should let her go. So to conceal the deaths, she cut Agnes's body into pieces to fit into a trunk, while Hedvig's body was placed intact into another. Ruth bought train tickets to Los Angeles and checked both trunks as luggage. However, railway employees became suspicious when blood began seeping out of one of the trunks upon arrival. Again, I'm going to assume the blood came out of the one that she dismembered. Right? Wrap them up. Wrap them up. Yeah, that's just utter hate. Well, self-defense is gone if they're dismembered. Yeah. She was a juggernaut to their ends. The situationship, I believe her. She used the Greek sparagmos on her, just without the devotion Dionysus. Okay. Imagine you clock into work and see somebody's bag with blood leaking. That'd be so... Well, imagine you're taking trunks out of the train and then you put it down and blood starts leaking out of it. I'd be suspicious too. So when police arrived, they opened the trunks and discovered the bodies and traced the baggage tags back to Ruth, of course, because they had her name on them. Do you know what would have been funnier? If she had bought a ticket. Actually, she didn't even have to buy a ticket. If she just put her luggage in the loading location, they loaded the trunks, and then she got on a different train in an opposite direction. She never would have been caught. I should have been a killer in the 1900s! I'm back. Welcome back. Didn't wrap them in plastic. Should have used hefty. I'm telling you, something easy. 1931. There was plastic. She fled but soon turned herself in, claiming she had been defending herself and panicked afterward. Come on. If they're dead, you're not going to dismember them. The case quickly became a nationwide spectacle due to the gruesome transport of the remains. I wonder if she probably would have also gotten charged with, isn't it, transporting human remains over state lines? Towels would have gone a long way. Absolutely. Although, it sounds like there was a lot of blood, so maybe like a blanket or something? Not a sheet. You would need something to soak it up. I meant the dismemberment. You're thinking too advanced strats. So I'm saying! I should start a business. I should start a business where I travel back to the 1800s, and I'm like, girl, you are gonna get caught. I've seen the future. Me pretending to be a psychic. I've seen the future. Put the luggage on a different train and go the other way. Probably would have been an additional charge. True. But I mean, also... I mean, not getting caught for murder is pretty nice, too. She could have just borrowed the money from the dead girl. Winnie Ruth Judge was found guilty, but was ultimately judged mentally unstable and sentenced to the Arizona State Hospital rather than prison. Over the next several decades, she escaped from the hospital multiple times before they finally paroled her in 1971. Which I would argue, maybe don't put the woman that keeps trying to escape on parole. After her release, she lived quietly under a fake name until her death in 1998. And her case remains one of the most infamous murders in Arizona history. Congratulations. The multiple times is wild. Thank you so much for the head pats. Wait, do head pats work with this model? Oh yeah, of course they would. Never mind. Multiple times is crazy. That's what I'm saying. Because who is that woman that they keep rejecting her parole request? I can't think of who it is. There's a woman that has been on good behavior, but they keep rejecting her parole request. It does work. Thank you. I just, for the life of me, I can't remember. Okay. And next, our final. And we get a double whammy. This is also a New Zealand case, actually. Also, how cute is this outfit? I'm not a huge fan of shoulder pads, but I love a skirt suit. I love a skirt suit. I love it. I love it. I love a skirt suit. Not another one. What can we say? New Zealand's full of murderers. Who would have thought? You don't mean the DoorDash driver, right? Happy ending. Yeah, happy ending. And everyone lived happily ever after and ordered DoorDash. It's always New Zealand. It's always New Zealand. She kind of got that fit on. She's so pretty. Okay, so Pauline Parker and Juliet Hulme, I don't know how to pronounce that. Hulme were intensely bonded teenagers in Christchurch. We're in Christchurch, New Zealand. Did you like that? New Zealand. I don't know. Their friendship was very close. And they were roommates. And they had these shared fantasies and private stories. And then Juliet's family said they were moving overseas. I wonder if they were moving to Australia. Oh, the South Island. Of course, she's insane. I wonder if they were moving to Australia. The girls did not want to be split apart because they were, quote unquote, best friends. I feel like they were in love with each other, but what do I know? So Pauline believed her mother, Honora Parker, was the main obstacle preventing Juliet from staying. So the two started to discuss ways to stop this happening. I need to see Mira in those in like a skirt suit. Oh, I would love one. On June 22nd, 1954, Pauline and Juliet lured Honora on a walk through Victoria Park under the pretense of like a little girl's day out, you know? Just two besties and one of their moms. Juliet carried half a brick wrapped in a stocking. We know it was probably nylon, so that shit was strong. During the walk, the girls dropped a small pink stone on the path to prompt her to bend over. I would never bend over for a pink stone, but they just dropped one and they were like, oh, I dropped my pink stone. Would you mind picking it up, mother? And then they struck her with the brick. They hit her over 40 times until she was dead at the scene. Yeah. It was quite brutal and it shocked the nation. This feels like a kill method from Hitman. Oh, look, a shiny stone. The girls attempted to claim that Honora had fallen and injured herself. Be for real. Be so for real. But their clothing was covered in blood and they found the weapon nearby. And you know, the back of her head was probably caved in if she got hit 40 times. And the police went through their diaries, which documented their fantasies of, you know, of each other, and then their discussions about murdering the mom. And they were like, this is premeditation. So really, after they read the diaries, stop writing stuff in diaries. So many. There's also another case where a girl killed, like a teenage girl killed another girl or attempted to kill her. Oh wait, or killed her and put her in the mattress. I can't remember. But her diary was like, I killed her. Like, whatever. Use your brains. But yeah, once they found these, yeah, their self-defense claim, like if they were gonna say it was an accident or if it's self-defense, it just would not stand. Lesbianating. Back to the lesbianating. Is this your Yuri fanfic? Gotta leave a paper trail for funsies. Yeah. They certainly like to self-document their action every time. Like, I don't get it. The mom fell over and hit the same brick 40 times. Crazy. And the brick was weirdly inside of a stocking. And it looks like the blows came from above. But yeah, no, this was totally an accident. So Pauline and Juliet were both convicted of murder, but they were spared the death penalty because of their ages. They were 15 and 16. They were sentenced to detention. They didn't set an end date, but they served around 5 years each before being released, that on the condition that they never contact each other again. Juliet moved to the UK. I mean, do you So this all started because Juliet was moving overseas and they didn't want her to go. And then for her to go through all this and then move to the UK anyway. She then changed her name to Anne Perry and became a successful crime novelist. And Pauline also moved overseas and lived a quiet life. And they never reoffended after their release. A happy ending! A happy ending! Also, 5 years. I mean, I get it, because if you're like a youth, if you leave them in the prison system for too long, they don't have a chance to, you know, integrate into society. But also, yeah, becoming a crime novelist after that is crazy. Yeah, I agree. She has experience in crime after all. Yeah. Part of me is wondering, if she ever wrote about... She probably wouldn't. She knows that would come off so bad. But, if she wrote about a murder where, she smashed someone over the head with a brick. But anyway, the part that gets me is that she moved overseas. Let me put this on the floor. I just cleaned my desk and I need to clean it again. She actually became a crime novelist? Yeah, right? Which, I mean, part of me's like, yeah, she must have the mind of a killer and would make amazing crime novels. But another part of me is like, that's kind of weird behavior. Maybe she didn't re-offend because she found an outlet for all her dark thoughts. But yeah, the fact that she was like, I don't want to leave you, I love you so much. Because they were lesbianating. And then she moved overseas anyway. Which she could have done. Because apparently not talking to each other turned out fine for them in their 20s, huh? Who knew? Had she just moved, nothing bad would have happened. I imagine she'd have to, since everyone local would know about her. That's true. That is true. But how do you also, like, would you... The hell was that?
Of all the bad girls behind bars shown today, Mira is still my favorite. Hashtag free Mira.
Thank you so much! Thank you, thank you, thank you! I hadn't heard that notification. I was like, what the hell is that? What's that noise? Thank you so much! Thank you, thank you, thank you! Mira's still the baddest behind bars. Hey! I was gonna say, how do you move to another country after being convicted for murder? Surely that, I assume that would block your visa. But I guess in the 1950s, maybe you didn't have to have a visa? I honestly feel like that would, yeah, your visa would not be approved. Like, have you ever been convicted for a crime? Yes, I murdered my mother. Okay. Next. Free Mira. She's kind of innocent. Just a little bit. Legally? Oh, illegally. No, surely that was legal. Imagine if that was the crime they committed. Wasn't Australia a bunch of criminals? Hey! Hey! How come I can't see that? I can't see that comment on here. Ah, maybe it's my Twitch chat that's laggy. Weren't a bunch of criminals from other countries sent to colonize Australia? Yes, but that's different. They didn't kill their mothers. I have no idea when visas became widespread. I'd be curious to know. All right. Well, that concludes our brief dark history for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Honestly, I was gonna do just like a prison Zatsu today, and I was like, what if we did a prison Zatsu, but we talked about women that were criminals? Yeah. Thanks for the dark history lesson. Thank you, thank you. I did like doing this. This is a bit more brief than, I guess, our regular in-depth dark history on like one topic specifically. But I think it was fun. Mira's homeland is full of criminals, not New Zealand. Well, I think you'll see that we just spoke about a bunch of criminals from New Zealand. A baby farm? Do the words baby farm mean anything to the New Zealanders? Thanks for stream, Mira. No, thank you for coming. Let us see if anyone is online. They never are. Hey, Paranorma's live. Never mind. Paranorma is live. If you're on Twitch, we'll raid into Paranorma. If you are on YouTube, let me double check, but I believe Gal is doing her... Oh, Gal's not online. I lied. I was gonna say, I believe she's doing her donathon. We will raid into her finale for her donathon to buy back her IP, the Great Booty Buyback. So we'll raid into her, give her some love and some support. Galmi, yes. I thought she was online. I was supposed to pop in to say hi today, but I was unfortunately extremely sleep deprived. Son of a bitch! I just remembered that! Oh no, I missed it! They released the Skeletor Edward Scissorhands doll today and I missed the sale! Period. It was at like 2 a.m. It's sold out, isn't it? Oh, it's sold out! I'm gonna kill myself. Alright. Oh my god. The Twitch raid is gonna happen in any second now, so I'll say goodbye. I love you, I love you, I love you. I will see you tonight for Sleep Awake, which is a new Blumhouse game. We'll try and finish it all in one go. Let's see. I don't know how long it is, maybe. Alright, I love you, goodbye. Mwah, 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 mwah. Bye! If you're on YouTube, hello. let me zoom in and give you a proper kiss. oh my god, such manly hands. Mwah, 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 mwah.